Good afternoon, that is. My name is Kaylin DeHelius. I'm the Director of the Human Rights and Relations Department for the City of Omaha. I am here to welcome you to the 2026 City of Omaha and Douglas County Aspire to Inspire celebration. Themed Voices for Justice, Agents for Change, the time is always right to do what is right. Dr. King's words, which he shared at a time of unrest, invite intentional action of each of us today, whether it be through listening to understand rather than to respond, doing right rather than being right, advocating for change when faced with unfairness, or showing up genuinely in the community. Please tune in as we share a series of musical selections and presentations with you this afternoon, and highlight how the three people receiving awards today are living Dr. King's words. First, I'd like to give a shout out and a thank you to a few elected officials that don't appear on the agenda but are here today. Commissioner Chris Rogers. There you are. Councilwoman Lavanya Goodwin. Omaha Regional Metropolitan Transit Board member Yanira Garcia. Did I miss anyone? All right, great. Thank you for being here, everyone. We will now welcome the Douglas County Department of Corrections Honor Guard for the presentation of colors, followed by Lieutenant Marcus Taylor singing the Star Spangled Banner. Please stand.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please remain standing. Thank you for that beautiful song and presentation. I now welcome Camille Matoyer-Moten, who will sing Lift Every Voice.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has brought us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has taught us. Facing the rising sun of the new day begun. Let us march on, let us march on, let us march on till victory is won.
Thank you, Camille. Thanks, everyone, for setting the stage beautifully for our celebration. You may be seated. Except Mayor John W. Ewing, Jr., who I would like to invite up to make opening remarks.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to all of the elected officials who are here who have already been recognized. I want to take a special privilege and recognize my Chief of Staff, Thomas Warren. And then we have a number of city and county employees in here. And I'm going to ask all of you to stand for a moment. All city and county employees. Thank you all for being here today, and I just want to recognize you all for the great work that you do for this community each and every day. And then I also want to take just a moment before I go back on script and say this. There has been some talk this week about the civil rights movement being bad for this country. And I stand here telling you that I believe the civil rights journey has been one of the most important journeys that this country has ever gone on. So I stand with all of the people of this community. We are going to be a united community. We are going to welcome our immigrants. We are going to welcome everyone in the city of Omaha. And my goal will never change. We are going to be the most inclusive community in the United States of America. So I just want you all to know what my commitment is. So thank you all again for being here. It has been almost 58 years since the great American Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated, and 97 years since his birth in 1929. I'm old enough to have a child's memory of the first and too young to even, my parents are too young to have been in this age group with Dr. King. I say that to emphasize the passage of all this time has not dulled the brightness of his light nor the power of his words. When we gather each year to honor Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we are performing a sacred ritual to keep that light burning because the words are so relevant today as we look at our troubled times. And among my personal favorite was Dr. King's reminder to us that it is always the right time to do what is right. So in the spirit of doing what is right, let me offer my warm congratulations to today's city and county employees, and let me encourage all of us who work for the people of Omaha and Douglas County, and all of us who live in this wonderful place to do what is right. Don't wait for the perfect time. In fact, don't wait. This is why I have launched the Year of the Neighbor, so that we can follow Dr. King's example in doing what is right, starting with recognizing the humanity in every single person. Every single person in this community is our neighbor. So let us always do what is right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Ewing. I'd now like to welcome Douglas County Commission Chair Roger Garcia.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. All right. Let me first say I'm going to go a pinch deeper here, and I promise to be super brief further in the agenda when I come up again. So I want to say good afternoon again. It's my honor as the chair of the Board of Commissioners and here in Douglas County to welcome you to our City County Aspire to Inspire events. This is an event where we can be inspired by the work being done in our community and our local government as well, in service to others, as well as providing for a moment of reflection on Dr. King's life, his message, and his legacy, and especially how it continues to reverberate in today's times. Given the state of the union that we are in at this moment, my message will be a bit more somber this year, as just like Dr. King called out the realities of the moment in his time, so must we. But let me first rejoice in the act of being in community and taking steps towards being that beloved community, unified in events like these where people from all backgrounds come together to celebrate being one, uplifting the value of compassion and service to one another, and reflecting on what and where we've been and where we need to go in the future. Expressions of community, like the one here before us today, are beautiful and needed in abundance, and expressions of love that we have for one another as community members. Now, speaking of community and discerning where we need to go moving forward, Dr. King wrote his final book in 1967, titled, "Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community?" It is a book written after the passage of the Civil Rights Act that describes the continued struggles of poverty, unemployment, and poor housing for Black Americans, demanding structural economic changes, and despite those continuing struggles, still urging people to not abandon the nonviolent approach, and instead calls for unity of all individuals who are poor and struggling to join hands in the call for economic justice. He calls this coalition of Black, white, Latino, Native, and all Americans the beloved community. And he warns America about choosing between nonviolent existence and violent conflict. And let us be clear and honest that Dr. King did not mince words. He calls out the majority of America, particularly in that time, white America, in their own internal struggle between moving society towards equality or instead supporting the status quo. He states in the book, the limited degree of concern by the majority is a reflection of an inner conflict which measures cautiously the impact of any change on the status quo. As the nation passes from exposing extremist behavior to the deeper and more pervasive elements of equality, the American majority tends to backtrack and reaffirm its bonds to the status quo. And we see this rebuffing of progress many times in America's history. After emancipation came new methods of indentured servitude and trapping former slaves into debt and financial obligations to former slave owners. After passing the 14th and 15th Amendments, entered Jim Crow laws, limiting the ability to vote and the rise of the KKK. Right before and after the passage of the Civil Rights Act, the assassination of Dr. King, Malcolm X, and the incoming war on drugs that brought about substantial, disproportionate incarceration of Black Americans. And later, the election of the first Black president, to be followed by an administration that just a few days ago said that the civil rights was very bad for white people, and is now starting to send armed troops door to door asking people for their papers. Dr. King encouraged our constitutional right to peacefully assemble and to freedom of speech by means of nonviolent protest, a right that many are scared to exercise and that many may even discourage, both then and now. And due to its relevance today, another brief quote from the book, King says, the many political leaders and well-meaning friends who ask, using language from the 60s, those well-meaning friends who ask the Negro leadership to leave the streets may not realize that they are asking us effectively to silence ourselves. The twice forgotten man in America has always been the Negro. His groans were not heard. His needs were unfelt until he found the means to state his case in the public square. More white people learned about the shame of America and finally faced some aspects of it during the years of nonviolent protest than during the century before. Nonviolent direct action will continue to be a significant source of power until it is made irrelevant by the presence of justice. So, my beloved community, let me end with this. Before he was a civil rights icon, Dr. King was a pastor and reverend and stayed so until his very last days. And the Lord God that he followed, the same God of all three Abrahamic faiths, spoke through his prophets, one of which was Isaiah. And the prophet Isaiah said this about 2,700 years ago, speaking of the sins of the nation at that time. And on behalf of the Lord, he said, "Wash and make yourselves clean. Take your evil deeds out of my sight. Stop doing wrong. Learn to do right. Seek justice. Defend the oppressed. Take up the cause of the fatherless and plead the case of the widow." From Isaiah chapter 1, 16, 17. So, my beloved community, it is never too late to follow Dr. King's ways. It is never too late to follow the ways of our Creator. I pray for our nation, and I pray for our current state of affairs. And as King famously stated, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. So hold on to hope. Hold on to light and to love and to working together for a better tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Please re-welcome Camille Matoyer-Moten for her musical performance.
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. Oh, it's gonna feel real good. I'm gonna make a difference. I'm gonna get it right. As I turn up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind. I see the kids in the street without enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their need? A summer's disregard, a broken bottle top, and a one-man soul. They follow the pattern of the wind, you know, 'cause they've got nowhere to go. That's why I want you to know I'm starting with a man in the mirror, and I'm asking him to change his ways, 'cause there is no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change, yeah. Ooh, I've been a victim of a selfish kind of love. It's time that I realize that there are folks with no home, not a nickel to loan. Could it be really me, pretending that they're not alone? A widow deeply scarred, somebody's broken heart, and a washed out dream. Oh, they follow the pattern of the wind, you see, 'cause they've got nowhere to be. That's why I'm starting with me. I'm starting with a man in the mirror, and I'm asking him to change his ways, 'cause there is no message could have been any clearer. If you want to to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change. Oh, the man in the mirror, and I'm asking him to change his ways, 'cause there is no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change.
Thank you, Camille, for that beautiful inspiration and invitation. We have one more speaker to share with you. Mariam Sano, founder of Let's Talk About It Coaching, will provide some remarks.
Good afternoon, everyone. That wasn't loud enough. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I like that better. First, I want to begin by thanking the City of Omaha, Human Rights and Relations Department, and Douglas County Human Resource for bringing us together for an Inspire 2026. I'd also like to acknowledge our city and county leaders, employees, and community partners joining us today from Douglas County Corrections, Omaha Police Department, Human Resource, Human Rights and Relations, and all departments presented in this room. I want to extend a special thanks to Mayor John Ewing. I truly appreciate your presence. I have seen you in more community events than I can count. And that consistency speaks volumes about your commitment to this day and its people. On a personal note, moving to Omaha from New York made me feel like I never left home, especially when you became mayor. That matters more than you may know. Thank you for your leadership and your support for our community. When Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Voices for justice, agents for change, the time is always right to do what is right," I don't think he was only talking about historic moments and grand gestures. I think he was talking about ordinary people making extraordinary decisions. Some quiet decisions, some loud ones, even when it's hard. As someone who speaks 4 languages and who came to the United States at 9 years old, I had to navigate different cultures, different expectations, and different systems. Through that journey, I've seen how easy it is for voices, especially voices for youth and multicultural communities, to be misunderstood or overlooked. There were moments when my own voice was almost silenced. Moments when it would have been easier to step back. Moments when I questioned whether my voice belonged in a room at all. Moments when I was translating not just language, but culture, expectation, and emotions. Moments when speaking up meant risking being misunderstood. And moments when staying silent felt safer. That tension between being seen and being safe is something that many youth and families know well, especially those navigating systems that weren't designed with their expectation in mind. And that's when I learned something important. Silence can feel like protection, but it comes at a cost. But I reclaimed it because I believed that one day I would use this voice with courage and responsibility. And I believe many of you are doing the same with your voices, even when no one is looking. Because the time is always right to do what is right. And that does not come with an expiration date. And what I've learned is this: doing what is right rarely comes with perfect timing. It comes with courage. It comes with discipline. When we talk about voices for justice, we often imagine microphones, podiums, or public platforms.
But justice doesn't only come from microphones. It comes from listening across desks, counters, conference tables, listening when the answer is inconvenient, listening when the story doesn't match the paperwork, listening without interrupting, listening without preparing a response, listening even when the answers make us feel uncomfortable, listening when time is limited but impact is not. For those working inside systems, doing what is right often comes with balancing policy with humanity. And that balance takes intentions. It comes from the city employees who chooses fairness over convenience. The county employees who remembers there is a human being behind every case file. The community member who shows up even when the system feels overwhelming. And it comes from parents advocating for their children, youth trying to find their places. And from leaders who may never carry a title, but lead through their actions every single day. Doing what is right inside systems isn't always easy, but systems are built on rules, timelines, policies, yet people don't always fit neatly into them. Sometimes doing what is right means slowing down. Sometimes doing what is right means asking more thoughtful questions. Sometimes doing what is right means choosing empathy over assumptions. And often doing what is right means listening before correcting. When people feel heard, they begin to believe that they matter. And that belief changes everything. Being an agent for change doesn't require permission. You don't have to be loud to be powerful. You don't need a title to do what is right. Some of the most powerful leaders I've encountered never had a title. They stood behind podiums. No, they never stood behind podiums, never received an award. They were consistent, they were accountable, and they showed up and showed out, especially when it was uncomfortable. Leaders look like returning a phone call when you don't have all the answers. Leaders look like admitting when a system needs to do better. Leadership looks like choosing someone over process without abandoning the responsibility. That is the kind of leadership that transforms communities, not overnight, but over time. And when we center our action around people, around dignity and respect and accountability, we become agents of change in ways that last. So today, my question isn't what Dr. King would do. It is what we will do right now at this moment in time. Who will you speak up for? Who will you choose to listen to more closely? What small but meaningful action is waiting on you? Because the time is always right to do what is right. Not tomorrow, not when the weather is perfect, not when you feel ready, not when you feel like it, not when the email finally gets answered, not when you get promoted, not when you start the business, not even when things get easier, not someday, but when it's easy. Not when it's easy, but now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mariam, for that urgency and invitation and ask of all of us. Now we'll shift to uplifting three people who have really embodied Martin Luther King's work and words and vision in the way they live, in the way they work, the way they show up, and can be a real inspiration for all of us today. Deputy Chief of Police Cherie Thomas will announce our city award recipient.
Thank you. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Happy Friday. All right. So, Lieutenant Antoine Finch is a dedicated law enforcement professional who consistently gives back to the community. He finds ways to make a difference in the community through his professional and personal life. Lieutenant Finch is intentional about his community service. He was born and raised in North Omaha. and takes pride in giving back to the community that assisted him in becoming the man that he is today. Lieutenant Finch has been a member of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated since 1989. The principles of his fraternity are manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift. Through the years, he's been an active member and participated in his chapter's community service activities. He served as the graduate chapter president from 2020 to 2024. Under his leadership, he worked to get funding for his fraternity to assist families in the community. He also began the Before the Casket event, which is a gun violence program to educate others on how gun violence impacts the community as a whole, including but not limited to the family members, the first responders, coroners, clergy members, and the community at large. Lieutenant Finch collaborated with members of the Omaha Police Department and the Omaha Fire Department to assist in this successful event. Lieutenant Finch has also worked with his fraternity with their event, Omega Psi Phi's Fraternity Botillion, which assisted in personal growth of high school African American males, working with them with leadership and servanthood. He also assists with Project Manhood and the Omega Squires, which are two mentoring programs that the Beta Upsilon chapter created. Lieutenant Finch has been active in these programs and chaperoned 20 students earlier last year and took them to a play at the Orpheum Theater. Lieutenant Finch also has conducted presentations about what to do when you're pulled over by the police. He did this presentation to the Omega Squires, high school students, and to the community at large. He's always looking for ways to educate the community on what they should do when they come into contact with law enforcement. Improving police community relations is a priority of his. Lieutenant Finch has participated with the Shop with a Cop event with the Omaha Police Officers Association over the years, assisting children from homeless shelters in shopping for gifts for themselves and their family members during the Christmas holiday. Lieutenant Finch has also been a member of the Black Police Officers Association since its inception and participates in the annual Thanksgiving and Christmas giveaways. He's also volunteered at the Easter egg hunts and student celebrations events that the BPOA have. Lieutenant Finch is an active coach with Police Athletics for Engagement, better known as PACE, and enjoys teaching kids about teamwork and the other lessons that you learn when you're involved in sports. In 2023, Lieutenant Finch volunteered with the Black Student Leadership Council college tour, which included 40 students during that college tour, and they visited historically Black colleges and universities in Tennessee, Texas, Louisiana. Dr. King's legacy was about giving back to the community by serving others. Dr. King once said, "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" I believe that Lieutenant Finch fulfills his duties by serving others through all the work that he does on a professional level and personally, and he continues to give back. And so it's my honor today and he's also a good friend of mine, so he's just looking at me. But anyhow, it's an honor for me to welcome and congratulate Lieutenant Antoine Finch for the 2026 Aspire to Inspire Award.
Wow. First, I just didn't know who she was talking about. Thank you, thank you, thank you. When I first heard this, I said, I'm getting an award with Alexander Houston. Oh my goodness. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I first want to thank the City of Omaha and the Douglas County Committee, along with special thanks to Councilwoman LaVanya Goodwin, for selecting me to receive this award. I would also like to thank Chief Schmatter, Deputy Chief Cherie Thomas, and other OPD command staff for allowing me to serve this community under the umbrella of the police department. I have spent my career in law enforcement believing that change is possible. Standing on what is right and creating the positive relationships and being a community steward for this city. For this, I am quite proud. I would like to thank my entire family, my friends, my fraternity brothers of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, who all have committed to support me, show up for me, and encourage me. You all are forever appreciated. Receiving this award is an honor and a privilege. It's a privilege to have my name in the same space as the Honorable Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who believed it was time for a change. This award would never be possible without one lady who introduced me to community service to stand up for what's right when no one else would. My mother, the late Willa Bell Finch, who inspired me at a young age to always support people in this community. As I grew up, she devoted her time to organizations such as NAACP and the Urban League. She laid the foundation for me to be active in organizations such as the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, the Police Athletic League for Community Engagement, PACE, the National Black Law Enforcement Law Executives, and the Black Police Officer Association. She was an extraordinary woman who truly believed in the betterment of society. I recall as a young man growing up prior to 1986, when Nebraska first observed Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day as a holiday. My mother would always let me miss school on MLK's birthday. I would ask myself, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. fought for education. And this lady, who was a stickler on attending school every day, would let me stay at home on his birthday. This was irony at its finest. But she was teaching me to be a change agent, to stand up on your principles and what you believe in when others haven't changed yet. I feel a change can happen when the community is informed and there's positive relationships between the community and the police department. The programs I work with, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, Project Manhood Mentoring Program, the Before the Casket Gun Violence Prevention, the Black Student Leaders Council, Omaha 360, Shop with a Cop, and I would be remiss not to include the City of Omaha's Restorative Justice Diversion Program, along with other countless programs that my deputy chief named off. Which are designed to provide people, especially youth, with the knowledge to excel in life so they too can be an agent of change in society. So I charge this community to be a change agent, to continue building positive relationships with the police department, and let's all make the city of Omaha a better place for the next generation. Thank you.
I now welcome Robert Cesar to announce the Douglas County Award recipient.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Robert Caesar, and I work at the Douglas County Youth Center. I'm here today to introduce my nomination and the winner of the 2026 Aspire to Inspire Award. My nomination is Douglas County Commissioner Roger Garcia. As many of you previous speakers have touched on, social and political freedoms have been at the forefront of our society since 2025. And who has been at the forefront in Omaha? Commissioner Garcia. Roger has constantly and consistently been at the front lines in the streets and at his office, standing up and speaking out for those who are vulnerable and those who can't speak for themselves. Roger is directly involved in many organizations in our city, to include co-founding the Metro Young Latino Professionals Association and serving on the boards for the Immigrant Legal Center and Women's Center of Advancement. Roger is also very involved with the Douglas County Youth Center and the Juvenile Assessment Center, trying to address the many ongoing issues that affect our city with our at-risk youth. I know there are many more organizations and causes Roger is involved in, but to be honest, I can't quite name them all, and I'm not quite sure where he finds all the time to be so involved with the programs and organizations in our city. But to his dedication and commitment to our city, I am very thankful. In the spring of 2025, when federal agents came to our city, the first person I saw reporting on it was Roger. I saw Roger outside our plants in South Omaha several hours before I saw any news about it. One of those places searched affected my wife's family directly. One person, however, was there to be a voice of hope, of reason, of peace, and comfort, and that was Commissioner Garcia. Much like Dr. King, Roger saw injustice and responded respectfully. When protests followed in our city, Roger was there. Roger was there urging those to be heard, to be seen, but to not interfere, to not be in the way, and to not cause trouble. The person who pioneered peaceful protests in our country was the very man whose name's on the award today. In today's day and age, we constantly question our elected officials. We constantly question those who we elect and wonder if they're actually working in the best interest of the voters and the people who voted for them. The one person I can never have to question who works for the people who voted for him is Commissioner Roger Garcia. Roger is an advocate for those who can't speak for themselves, for those in the city of Omaha, for those in Douglas County, and for those in the state of Nebraska. Roger is a person who embodies the many qualities of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.: integrity, peace, unity, courage, and unwavering commitment to protect and better all individuals in our community. And with that, it is my honor to present to you the 2026 Douglas County Aspire to Inspire Award winner, Douglas County Commissioner Roger Garcia.
All right, I did promise to be brief the second time I got up here, but I want to thank my nominator, the committee for the awards, and all of us together as community that come together to live out and put into action love, compassion, seeking justice, because they are not just concepts that need to stay at the conceptual idea level. There are things we need to put into action every single day. And so, you know, my pitch for myself every day and my pitch for everyone is just to steer your heart towards love, towards compassion of one another. At the end of the day, when we actually take time to sit down with people, we learn that we have much more alike than we have different. And so let's spread some love out there, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Congratulations. We have now Chief of Staff for the Mayor's Office, Thomas Warren, who will present the Community Award.
Thank you, Kaylin, and the Human Rights and Relations Department for the wonderful job you guys do in putting this event together. To the elected and appointed officials who are here, thank you for your presence and support of this event. To my colleagues with the City of Omaha, my counterparts with Douglas County, and all of you being present. It's important that we continue to celebrate Dr. King's birthday and to host this event. And of course, your presence simply exemplifies how important it is to those of us here in the city of Omaha. As Kayla mentioned, I have the honor and the privilege of serving as Chief of Staff for Mayor John Ewing. And as he mentioned, and I'll just say, for us, we are old enough to remember Dr. King and the impact that he had on our society. And for our generation, we consider ourselves somewhat the benefactors of the sacrifices and the courage that the men and women from that generation, what they established here in our country so that we could have some of the opportunities that we have before us. To the award recipients, Lieutenant Finch and Commissioner Garcia, I couldn't think of two people more deserving of this recognition. So congratulations. And to Ms. Sano, thank you for your remarks. They were very insightful, and hopefully everyone will accept the challenge. So I have the honor of presenting this year's Aspire to Inspire Community Award for 2026. And to talk about not only the theme, Aspire to Inspire, someone so deserving because of their willingness to inspire the next generation. And so this award will go to Mr. Houston Alexander, a professional mixed martial artist, hip-hop artist, and DJ who has dedicated his life to serving Nebraska's youth. He founded the Houston Alexander Foundation in 2018, which offers free mentoring, education, and community programs that promote positive lifestyles and reduce violence. Initiatives focus on fitness, culture, and outreach. His Culture Shock Tour launched in 2003 and has visited over 450 schools in the state of Nebraska, teaching the history of hip-hop through music, dance, art, and leadership skills, fostering self-expression and anti-bullying awareness. The program promotes positive cultural influences and includes interactive sessions on nonviolent conflict resolution. Alexander's efforts include bike giveaways to reward students for improved grades or behavior, reinforcing incentives for personal growth. Alexander has an impressive record of professional mixed martial artists as a professional mixed martial artist, including a debut in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, or UFC, and an undefeated bare knuckle record. His musical talents in rap and hip hop and voice advocating for emerging talents in the rap tradition reinforce his foundation for work and impact. He selflessly uses his stardom to create a less violent community and uplift youth. So Mr. Alexander, if you would come forward. It is my honor. You are so deserving of this award and recognition. Thank you for all you do in the community. Our 2026 MLK Community Award recipient, Mr. Houston Alexander.
All right. Can you guys hear me in the back a little bit? Well, I know Glenn, where's Glenn? She said I got a loud mouth, so. It was kind of cool. So you guys don't realize we got our own interpreter right here. This is great. This is cool. If it was at a rap concert, you'd be in trouble. But we're sitting here in the back, and I'm hearing all these great accolades that everyone has, and I'm very honored to be up here in front of all these beautiful people. We appreciate everyone that came to support all the nominees today, or all the recipients today. But we're sitting back there with my coaches and friends, and I just looked over, and Coach Curly Alexander had to go to the bathroom. He had to go to the bathroom, and I was like, "Where's Coach?" He's in the bathroom. But this award, and Shorty told me not to tell any dad jokes, but I want to give a shout out to Just for Men for making me look halfway decent today. All right, but this award truly doesn't go to me, and I say that because this goes to anyone in this community that's putting in the work. Right here in my hand, this is the work being done in our community by every single citizen, every single person in this community that's putting the work towards making this community better. And it's and for some reason, Rip, good friend of mine for over 20-some years, he said, I don't want you up here crying. Right, don't cry up here. Yeah, I'm sorry, 40 years. But this is about the work. I appreciate everyone who's involved with this. I appreciate everyone who came today to acknowledge the work. It's not about me. It is about the work. Thank you to my family, my friends, and everybody who's followed my career. Thank you to this whole entire room. Thank you to the staff. Thank you to everyone, people out there beyond Omaha, Nebraska. This is Omaha, Nebraska. There are black people here, though. I had to say that officially. But I'm going to keep it short and sweet because I learned from the best because Coach Alexander was up there one time for 15, 20 minutes, and y'all don't want that. So this is to everyone here. Thank you so much. This is for the work. Thank you.
All right, let's give our awardees one more round of applause. Lieutenant Finch, Commissioner Garcia, Houston, thank you for inspiring us, for being role models who give us modern-day examples of how to follow in Dr. King's footsteps. And thank you all for being here this afternoon. Before you leave, can you take a deep breath in and then let it out? Take a moment to think about what your challenge is to do what is right now, this month, this year, when you're presented with an opportunity. And maybe part of accepting that challenge is that you accept taking a few more breaths when you feel those challenges coming your way. Please enjoy refreshments on your way out, and we welcome you to come back next year. Have a great day.